Hello all, welcome to the web service series. In the last previous session, we have been discussing about the schemas. So now we are going to go a little deep into it and discuss few additional features of the schema. Okay, let me close everything. Okay. So I already created the demo project with a simple Java project and created the class path with the name source main resources, and right click on it and I'm going to say other. I'm going to select the file. So once I select the file, okay, I'm going to name it as employees.xsd. First of all, I'm going to create XML schema. So XML schema, then I'm going to create XML tag using that schema. Okay. So let me control space. It's asking the XML declaration. Okay. Next control space, and okay, I'm going to add schema. Okay. So this is schema. Control space on it, and I'm going to select default namespace. Why not? Why it's not showing it? See, little problem. Okay. Control space. Okay. Schema schema. So save it and control space. I'm going to select. I'm going to select the website's name of W3org. (2001/XML) Schemas schema. Okay, and that's it. So when you say save it, then this schema, the schema what you have given as a package, it's going to provide us a few additional attributes. Let me enter control space. See, it's showing me, as I added this namespace, it's showing me the few additional features like additional things. So let me select target namespace. The target namespace is nothing but your URL. So your URL, let's say this is my URL, and the surname, it can be your company name and all the stuff, but it should be unique. And give name of the project, and okay. So next me enter control space. So it's asking me I need to provide default namespace again, but with alias TNS, because as I already have the TNS, I already have the namespace. So just to avoid the confusion between these two, target namespace and actual namespace of the W3org, so I'm using alias name here. Control space. Same as this name should be same as the target namespace. Okay. So let me enter control space. So I should select element from default. It is already qualified. So if at all you want to read without prefixes, you should use qualified. So if at all you want to read without prefixes, you should use this thing. Okay, alias name. Read the elements using alias name, you should use qualified. Okay. As we have the schema, so inside it, I'm going to enter start for the elements. I'm going to elements, but nothing but the tags. I'm going to use this tag element. In element, see here, element we have we may have many property, many attributes, but it's asking us to enter name as mandatory attribute. So let me enter my tag name. So let's say that my tag name is employees. Okay, employees. Let me enter control space. it has a different attributes. I'm going to select type. Type is nothing but data type. So if I enter control space, it's going to ask us what is this employee data type. So I'm going to say it is integer. I'm going to say it's a string. Where is string? Okay. Save it. now we had created the schema and the element, saying that it should have the employees tag name. So let me right click on the project and say a new other. I'm going to select file. So the name of the file is employees.xml. Okay. So let me add default declarations. Once you have default declaration, so here I'm going to use. I'm not using Eclipse feature. So Eclipse feature is automatically will read the schema and create the XML document, but we are doing it manually. Okay. So what is the tag we have there? It's employees, right? Employees. Let me add employees here. So here I'm going to provide the namespace. The namespace. So what is that namespace? Name should be the target namespace of our schema. So I'm going to enter the same namespace here. So then enter control space. So it's going to automatically retain that feature. So when you enter control space, it's asking me for so it's showing the different options. So I'm going to select schema instance. So once I select the schema instance, then I need to select schema location. Schema location is nothing but it's asking the namespace for space followed by the location of the schema. So this is my schema. I'm going to copy this thing, target namespace, and I'm going to enter there. So what is my schema location is already present in the same location, right? So I'm going to give the name. But as I said, in the real time, we'll be giving complete URL here. So this is what we have discussed in our previous session, control space. If you say right click on it, say and validate, everything looks good. Okay, everything looks good. So this is what we have done manually. We have created the XML schema file and then its corresponding XML file. This is all manual. Let us do automatically by using the Eclipse feature. So I'm going to delete this. So I'm going to right click on it, say new other. I'm going to select XML schema file. So let me say this is my file. I will say finish. When I say finish, it's automatically downloading the automatically created the XML tag along with its XML declaration along with its schema. So inside it we need to define the elements. The target names, it also has given some default target name. You can change it accordingly. So I'm going to modify this. Okay. Employee. And we're going to copy this and paste it there. So element form default is qualified, good. So everything looks good now. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to start creating the elements. Right click on it, say element. So let's say that. So this is what we have done, right? And the type is. So what is this type? So type is string. So once we have read the XML schema, we will simply right click on it, say new other XML file. XML file, say select this file and some name. XML, say next. When you say next, it's asking, do you want to create simple XML file or do you want to refer XML schema and create accordingly? So I'm going to select the second option. So I want to refer the XML schema and create accordingly. I'm going to say next. Okay, so it's asking me the location, where is that XSD file present. So I have given the path. Okay, everything is created. If at all you don't want to add the prefix name, you can simply edit and remove it. So it's saying no prefix and say finish. See, let me format it. You can see it has created automatically. Automatically it has created. Automatically it is referred by the target namespace, and it has created the instance, then the location. It has automatically taken it without any problem. Now we are going to go little further. Little further. We're going to add few additional tags. So now we're going to make it little complex. So I will go to schema, and as we just have one tag, one element, we don't have any multiple elements because you can see we just have one element. So I'm going to make a little complex. So let's say that this is my project. So let's say that I want to create the XML in this format. Okay. So I need to create in this format. So inside it should have employee. Okay, it should have employee, and let's say that inside the employee, let's say that we need this one. So inside the employees, we need to have the employee tag. Okay, we need to have the employee tag. So I will go to Eclipse. So this is employee, right? So inside it, the element employee, we don't need string. We don't need string. It needs to have some. Let me go there. So inside this thing, we should have one more tag. What is the tag? So this is the format we want. So what we're going to do is, where is the XSD schema, right? So here what we done is, so if you look at this thing, this is the element inside it. We need one more tag known as employee, right? So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go to schema. So if you look at this thing, we need one more element inside this employees, right? So if I need, so the simple trick here is, if at all you need a child, if you need a child element inside one element, then you need to remove the. So if this employee has a child tag, then it should not have the type. So I'm going to remove the type because it has child tag. So I'm going to remove this and enter. Let me enter control space. Enter control space, it's asking me. So as I already said, there are two types of element. One is a complex element, other one is a simple element. The complex element is nothing but if it has tag, if it has child tags, or if it has attributes, then it is called as a complex element. Okay, if it has just simple tag along with the data, then it is called as a simple. But here, our employees isn't complex because it has child tags inside it. What is the child tag? Employee. So this employee is a simple element because it doesn't have anything. It doesn't have any attributes or any child elements. So I'm going to remove the type here because as it is a complex element. So this is a complex element, but this is the simple element. So I'm going to enter complex, save, and select the complex type. So inside it, I'm going to so if at all it's following some sequence, we need to use this following or not, which should enter inside the sequence. Let me format it. So inside this, I have the simple element. So how many elements I have? Only one element. One. So it should apply should be only for the once. So let me enter space and enter color. So this is my simple element. So element should have name, right? What is the name inside it? Employee. What is the type here? Because this is a simple element, we should have the type here. So the string. So now see here, this employee is a complex element. So we have the complex type and inside it the sequence and along with it employee. So employee is a simple element, so we have created a type for it. The employee is a complex element, so I have not created the type. So let me save this and go back and say I'm going to say validate. Why I'm getting error? Let me delete this XML file. Okay, delete this XML file. So why I need to type each and everything? So I'm going to, as Eclipse is creating automatically, I should not create the XML file. This is my name. I'm going to say next, and I'm going to use a schema. So I'm going to select a XML file from XML schema. So it's asking us the location of the schema file. So here we have the schema file. So as I don't need prefix, I'm going to remove this and then select OK. Then I'm going to say finish. So here you can see, let me format it. So you can see here, the employees is the complex element. So inside it we have the employee element, which is a simple element. So it has created accordingly. So let's do few more modifications. So before going further, let me talk about one more attribute. Okay, let me talk about one more attribute. Let's say that we have simple. We are saying that employee should repeat only for once. So that's the reason why we have one. So let's say that it's repeating. Let's say this simple element is repeating. So let's say that it's repeating for 3 times. So why it is showing error? Because the error is invalid content was found starting with element employee. No child element is expected at this point. So it's not expecting any child elements. So it's expecting only single employee, not multiple. Okay. So no child element is expected. So if we remove this additional employees, it should remove the error. So if at all we want this employees for the multiple iterations, what we can do is we can go to XML schema, and if you enter control space, you can see few additional attributes. So one of them is minimum occurs and maximum occurs. So how many times this employee should occur? So let's say that minimum is this mandatory and it should occur at least for once. So I'm going to selecting minimum. So for what is the maximum occurrence? Let's say that I have selected the maximum occurrence as 3. Then so if I go to XML, so I'm going to copy this. So it can occur once, or it can occur twice, or it can occur thrice. So when it occurs 4th time, then we are going to get error. So no child element expected at this point. a font starting with element employee. So when you write it for the fourth iteration, it's showing the error. So here the minimum number of the employees iterations that it can follow is 1, and it's a mandatory. So if you don't mention it, even then it's going to show problem. So minimum occurrence is 1 and maximum occurrence is 3. So we have one more option. Let me enter control space. One more option known as unbounded. So unbounded in the sense, so how many elements you want to create, you can create those many. So let me go to XML schema, control space, copy this and paste it for the multiple times. Right click on it, save, validate. Why it's showing error? So let me copy this. So these employees can occur multiple times. So it won't find any problem. Right click on it, say validate. So one error for Discord, one source was validation. I don't know why it is so. I said maximum occurrence is. I will do one thing. Delete this XML file. Again, open it. Okay, I will delete this. So let me right click on it. Say. So let me right click on it. Say new XML file, and let me give the name as employees.xml. Oh, I not selected schema, right? Right click on it, say new other XML file. I'm going to select employees.xml. Say next, and go to select this option and give the location of the XSD schema. So, and I'm going to give the finish. So it's going to create the tag. So the minimum occurrence 1, right? So that's the reason why it has created. It has created for the one time. So if at all we want to get repeated, we can give multiple times. It won't be a problem. So as we create the maximum occurrences as unbounded. Okay. So that's about the minimum and maximum occurrences. So let's make it complex. Let's go further. So let's say that. So this is our, let's say this is our XML schema file. So let's say that this is schema structure what we want. So it should have employees. So inside this employees, so it should have employee tag. So employee tag. So inside this employee tag, we want one more child tag. What is that? One more child tag. What is that? Let's say that we want a name. We want employee number. We want employee number, and inside it we want one more. Let's see. That's a name. See? Any name. So this is structure I need to create. So this is structure I need to create. So employees should have employee tag. Employee tag should have few more tags, two more tags. One is this sequence. First it should have employee number, then it should have name. So that's the reason why we surround them with these sequence tags. So we write them in the sequence tag because it follows that sequence. So here this is the root tag, and inside it this is the employee. So inside this we need to have this thing. So let's talk about simple and complex elements now. So if you look at employees, so as it has the child tags, this is the complex element, right? So let's come down. So this, if you come to employee, employee has a child tag. So this is also complex tags. So now let's come here. The employee number doesn't have any child tag, so it is a simple element. Whereas the name, this doesn't have any child tags or attributes, so we can say that this is also a simple element. So these two are complex and these two are simple elements. So let's create the schema accordingly, according to this criteria. First of all, I'm going to delete the XML file so that get created according using the schema file. So here I'm going to remove minimum and maximum occurrences. So we have the employees. Employees is a complex element, so we don't have the type here. We should not have type. So the important the blunder, the blind spot that we can remember is all the complex elements should not have the type attribute. Okay, as the employees is the complex element, so we don't have the type. So inside it we have created a complex type and created sequence, and inside the sequence we have created the element known as employee. Employee is also complex, so we're going to surround this with the complex. So inside this complex, so we're going to have sequence. So inside this sequence we need to have e number, right? E number. So e number and name at the same level. Let me save it. So this is a complex. One getting this error, 3 errors Discord. One resource was validated in the under a second. Okay. It's showing error because as you say that this is the complex, it's taking the e number and name as complex elements because it doesn't have type attribute. So we need, as that simple, we should have the type attribute. So let me enter type. Enter type. Type. So it should have some name. Sorry, we created it wrong. So we should create the elements inside them. So what are those elements? One is inside this we should have the element. Element should have the name. What is the name? E number. E number. So as it's a simple element, it should have the type attribute as well. So what is the type? Type, let's say that this is string. Okay. So whereas we need to have one more element, one more simple element. What is that? It's name. Employee name. So employee number should be integer. Should be integer. So let's save this. Right click on it, save validate. It's saying that it has found one error because in the employee is a complex element, but we have given type. So that's the reason why it's showing the problem. Now all the errors should go away. Right click on it, save validate. Now we don't have any errors. So according to the structure, we have created the schema. Okay. So this is a complex element. Inside it, we need to have one more complex element because it has some child element. So employee number doesn't have any attributes or the child's. So it is a simple element. So name is also a simple element. So this is structure. So employees, it's a complex. We have the complex type, and we have the sequence, and same place, and we have the one more complex element that is employee. So we create a complex type, and then the sequence. The sequence we have the two tags. One is e number and name. Name is the simple type, and the name number is also a simple type, so it's of the type integer. As it is simple of type, we have given type. The name is also a simple element, so we have given type. So element number is int, name is string. So let me create, save it and right click on it and create the XML file. .xml. I'm going to say next. I'm going to say create XML from an XML schema. So I'm going to select the schema location, source, main, resources. This is my XML. I'm going to say next, and I'm going to remove the TNS. Okay, finish. Now you can see it has created the XML file following the rules and regulations given by my schema. So employee is my complex element. So inside it, I have one more complex element, that is the employee. The employee has two more child elements. They are simple elements. One is enumber, so it has taken the default value for the integer, and whereas the name, it has taken the default string value. Not default string, it has taken some value. So actually, okay, that's the thing. So this is how we need to work with the simple and complex element. But if you look at the schema, see, it's going like a bullet. It's going a good bullet. So it's looking complex, too complex. Mm. Let's say that this employee has the father. Let's say that let's do one thing. This is the name, right? Let's say that this name, so this name also has few other fields like first name. It has the first name, and this is the last name. So let's say that it also has, so let's say this is the one. So what we need to do is, as this is the complex element, we need to remove the type, and inside it we need to create complex type. So inside the complex element we need to create the sequence. So inside the sequence we need to create our simple elements. What is that element? Element name is first name. So it's of the type. So it's of the type string. Similarly, I need to create one more simple element, that's for the last name. So this is also string type. So this is also my string type. You can see it has become much more complex. I'm going to delete it and again create. Right click on it, say new other XML. Okay, XML, not DDT, XML file. I'm going to say employee.xml. So next I'm going to create using schema file. Let me select the file where it is. Next and say, okay, this time I'm going to keep TNS. I'm going to say finish. Now you can see it has created the XML file, but it is complex. But if you look at the schema, it has become too complex, very much complex. Let's say that this is for the employee. This is for the employee. Let's say that we need to have one more tag that's for the child, that's for his father. Let me copy this paste it inside. This for the father, not the. So employee needs to have some father, right? Control Z. So we'll say this as employee name. Okay. So he needs to have some father. He needs to have father, right? With one more element. His name is not employee. This is father. Father. Even the father name should have first name and last name, right? So it has become too complex. But if you look at one thing, so even for the employee name, so let me create the XML file using this. XML. I will use this. Okay, I will say finish. So when you finish, you can see this is my root tag and it has employee. So employee has e number. Employee has his number and his name. Along with it, his name, he should also have his father name. Father name, first name and last name. Right? Father name, last name. This is how created. So it becomes too complex. If you look at the XML file, you can see there are a few things in common. That is this sequence. If you look at the first name and last name of the employee and the first name and the last name of the father, both are same. So here we can see code repetition. We have some common code which is getting repeated. So we have redundant data. So to avoid this, we need to follow some other standards. Okay, we need to make sure element stacks are getting repeated or not getting repeated. To resolve this, we write complex type separately. We should always write complex type separately, and we can reuse the complex type. So what we need to do is